What's up, guys? Welcome to today's episode. Today, we are talking all things nutrition. It's the hard part, right? This is the part everyone gets in their head. It's the part that we know makes the biggest difference in our body composition, in our performance, in our workouts, and our performances in life, how we feel, all right? But it's only as hard as you make it. And I think with all the information out there, all the misinformation out there, we tend to make things harder than they are so that we create this false excuse that we don't need to do it. The reality is, if you have a small problem and you leave it long enough, that small problem is going to become a big problem. And when it becomes a big problem, it's either too late or something bad potentially has happened, all right? And then it becomes even harder and even more important to make that change. And I see this time and time again with nutrition, okay? So what we're going to talk about today is longevity. The key to long-term successful and sustainable nutrition is eating a macro-balanced, calorie-controlled diet. Now, when I use the word diet, I don't mean that I'm starving myself. I'm meaning my consumption of food and calories, okay? That is what I mean by diet, okay? Sometimes my diet is in a calorie deficit. Sometimes my diet is in a calorie surplus, okay? I want people to be very, very clear and understand that because, again, we have this false narrative around diet culture, and the word diet means starve yourself. And that is not the case. It's your nutritional protocol, all right? When we talk about nutrition, no foods are off the table. There, I said it. Can you believe I just said it? If you want a donut, eat the donut. If you want the chocolate, eat the chocolate. Just understand where it fits in to your macro balanced, calorie controlled diet. Okay. Food is fuel. Food is what the body needs to perform its best work. That's how we need to look at it. Food is not this emotional connection. Too many people make it emotional. Oh, that tastes amazing. Oh, yum, 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 yum. All right. It is fuel. It's about giving your body what it needs at that time. Again, like I said, to perform at its best. That's how I look at it. Like I said, all foods are on the table. Some are more calorically dense. Some are more nutrient dense. But at the end of the day, if it fits into your macros, then it's available for you to consume. All right. I want to go through my basic principles around nutrition. And now, keeping in mind, I'm not a nutritionist. All right. I'm someone that has worked alongside nutritionists for a long time in my line of work. I'm also someone that has done a lot of self-research in this area over probably the last, how old am I? 46. So let's go maybe 30 years, right? Since I picked up my first weight and started weight training and then bought my first, dare I say it, bodybuilding magazine, I have been interested in nutrition, okay? And how it can be used to optimize everyday life. Now, if you have got a specific condition that impacts what you can and can't eat, maybe it's an allergy to something, then seek professional advice. I'm going to throw a little caveat in here as well. Professional advice is not your doctor, all right? I don't like the way that doctors and etc. are referred to as health professionals, right? This is just my personal opinion. They are medical professionals. They specialize in the medical field, not necessarily the health food or the health field, sorry, should I say. They don't have a great understanding of how exercise can impact the body. They don't have a fantastic understanding of the way food can impact the body. What I wanted to ask you is, and I'll just give some clarity around that. I'm not saying that I'm not against medical professionals. They are a very important part of society. But when do you go and see a doctor? Do you go and see your doctor when you're healthy? You go and see your doctor when something's wrong. What we're trying to talk about here, or what we're looking for here, is we don't want you to have to go and see a doctor because something is wrong from a lifestyle perspective. Remember, the power is in your hands. I have not seen a doctor in over 4 years for anything related to being sick or lifestyle related. I've not had to see my GP. And so what we need to understand is there is a difference between medical and there is a difference between health. But I digress. Let's get into my basic principles around nutrition. All right. So grab out your piece of paper. Here's what we're going to do. How do I know how many calories I need to eat every single day? Now, there are a myriad of different ways to work this out. There is no exact science when it comes to nutrition. Be very clear on that. You're going to get some numbers today, and those numbers may not actually work for you because everybody's body is different. But the basic principles are going to be very, very similar. So find your goal weight. All right. So if you're 80 kilos and you want to lose body fat, then you want to potentially reduce your overall weight. If you're looking to build muscle, you're looking to increase potentially your overall weight. All right. But your weight will determine your calorie consumption. Now, there are other ways that you can look at this. If you use a body composition scanner, that can give you some certain information. I use a Whoop, all right, and Whoop gives me certain information as well. All your different nutrition software, whether it be MyFitnessPal or Chronometer, they all will give you different ways to work out your calories. Get your goal weight, multiply it by 2.2. That's going to put it in pounds. So if you're 80 kilos times, 80 kilos times by 2.2, that's about 172 pounds. Okay. I'm then going to times that by 12, and that's going to give me my approximate calories that I need to consume every single day. Now, like I said, if you are working with myself, you will have had a body composition scan. So look at your scan. All right. And use that as a guide. Now, the big thing here that I want to be very clear on is a lot of people will talk about, I need to lose weight. Do you actually have the body fat to lose? Be very clear on that. All right. And this is where body composition scanning is so important, because it's not an overall number. It gives us a lot more information. So I'll use myself as an example. I'm currently 86 kilos. All right. I'm sitting around 12 to 15% body fat, which means that I have approximately, 12, 13 kilos of fat of my 86 kilos. Yeah, that's about right. Okay. So there's no point me saying I want to lose 20 kilos because I don't have 20 kilos to lose. Remember, the goal should always be fat loss. That should always be the goal. So once again, goal weight multiplied by 2.2 to get into pounds, times it by 12, and that will put it into your daily calorie allowance that you want for your calories. Right? Make sure you've actually got the fat to lose. First and foremost, that's why I recommend doing a body composition scan rather than jumping on the scales. But that being said as well, you will be able to look at yourself in the mirror and you'll be able to go, yes, I've got some body fat to lose. No, I don't, whatever it may be. Do not use BMI as a guide. Like I said, I'm 86 kilos. I'm between 12 and 15% body fat, which is relatively lean. All right. And if I use my height divided by weight, guess what? My BMI puts me in the overweight, almost obese category at 12% body fat. So do not use BMI as your guide to whether or not you need to lose weight or whatever it may be. All right. So be very, very clear of that. So like I said, my weight, all right, is currently 86. Now, I'd like to get down to about 80 kilos. I do need to lose a little bit of, probably maybe lose a little bit of muscle for that. But so if I'm for 80 kilos, if that was my goal weight, times it by 2.2, that's 176 pounds, times it by 12, it's 2,112 calories per day. That would be the maintenance calories for an 80 kilo person. Okay. So that is the maintenance calories of the weight that you're trying to get to. Once we know our maintenance calories of our goal weight, we then need to look at the second most important part of your nutrition, which is your protein intake, right? Because we are made of muscle. Muscle is the living, breathing organism that we are. The more muscle we can maintain or have, all right, the better our body is going to perform, especially later in life. Once we start hitting 30 years of age, we start to lose 1 to 2% of our muscle every single year. We need to maintain that. Could you imagine if you just let that go? What would 50 or 60 feel like? And if you're unsure, just walk outside and take a look around. All right, at what it looks like. With all of the information that we have out there, we are the sickest and more obese that we have ever been. And it all comes down to, in essence, what we are putting in our body. So once again, we've got our calories. Like I said, for an 80 kilo goal, it's about 2,100 calories. My protein goal. So again, I'm going to look at my goal weight, 80 kilos. And I want 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight. So like I said, if my goal is 80 kilos, that's 120 to 160 grams of protein every single day. Protein comes from a variety of different sources, right? Some animal-based, some plant-based. Whatever your preference is around nutrition, you still need to get that volume of protein in every single day, especially because you're going to be training and you need to repair your muscle, all right? So 1.5 to 2 grams of protein every single day. So we've got our overall calories, we've got our protein in grams. We're then going to multiply that by 4 because 1 gram of protein has 4 calories. So if I work on the higher end, the 160, okay, then that's 640 calories per day of my 2,100. That's going to come from protein. That's important. The remaining 1,450 or 70 or whatever it may be is going to come from carbohydrates and fats. And you are going to decide how you break that down. Everybody is different. Some people like more fat, less carbs. Some people like more carbs, less fat. As long as you don't go over your number, it does not necessarily matter. All right. Each item, however, does play an important part in human function. Carbohydrates is generally potentially where you will find a lot of your fiber, and it's your glucose for energy. Fats, however, are your neurological system, your nervous system health, your hormone health. So you need both. I'm not an advocate for cutting out one or the other. You need both for longevity and for sustainability. I don't often see people that cut out a food group sustaining it for a long period of time. We're talking about trying to do something that we can do for the rest of our life. So it needs to be sustainable. The next most important number is fiber. Fiber, gut health, so important. More important that you know, our gut is referred to as our second brain. All right. It is kind of like the functional part of our body. All right. And so we need 25 to 30 grams of fiber each and every day, preferably from food. All right. Again, I'm not against supplementation. I actually use supplements myself, and they help to fill gaps in my nutrition. That's how I use them. Okay. High fiber foods, lentils, chia seeds, avocados, pears, apples, red berries like raspberries or strawberries, broccoli, chickpeas, kidney beans, oats, flaxseed. You're going to get fiber from your carbohydrates and from your fats. And so when you're working out what you're actually going to eat, your protocol should simply be, I've got my total calories. What am I going to eat for my protein? Where is my fiber going to come from? And then I'm going to fill in the gaps. Okay. How you fill in the gaps is where the fun part starts. All right. Because, like I said at the start, there is nutritionally dense food and there is calorically dense food. All right. Some food, your highly processed foods, your donuts, your chocolates, whatever it may be. All right. Very small amount, high in calories. That's generally how it works. Your more natural and nutritious foods like your veggies and your salads, big amounts, not a lot of calories. Okay. So that's where you need to look at how you're going to fit everything in. Now, that doesn't mean that you are a salad and veg guy or girl every single day, because if you make it that strict, you are probably not going to adhere to it. There needs to be some give and take. You just need to plan for it. So if you're going to have some chocolate at night before bed, awesome, brilliant, but don't let it come at the sacrifice of your total calories. Fit it in there. If you want to have a donut, eat the donut. Okay. For the majority of us, and this is why I'm talking this way, we need to lose body fat. And we are overeating. And we're eating the wrong balance of food. The more muscle we had, like I said before, the actual more calories your body will burn at rest, because muscle takes more calories to maintain than anything else. All right. So muscle is super, super important. That's why eating your protein is super, super important. So now you've got your key numbers. All right. You've got your total calories. You've got your protein number. You know your fiber number. All right. You're now going to put everything into your nutrition tracking software. MyFitnessPal Chronometer is my preferred, but you're going to put it in. All right. Make sure when you do put it in your nutrition tracking software, whatever it may be, that you do turn off the activity component, because that's just going to skew your numbers, and the amount of activity you do and the calories that they say you burn are complete bullshit. If you're someone that wears an Apple Watch and you swear that, oh my God, I burnt 600 calories in that 1 hour workout, I'm telling you, you are joking yourself. You are kidding yourself. And if you allow for that, you are just going to overeat. And then all of a sudden you're going to be like, hey, why am I not getting any results? Because you're eating too much. Simple. Now, I know what you're all thinking. Can't be bothered tracking my food, Justin. This is all too hard. I have to weigh out my food. I have to measure it out. I have to, and this is my response. How do you know what you're eating? How do you know if you're on track? What got you to this point that you're at right now? Like I said in previous podcasts, this is like using Google Maps. You're here, you want to be here. How are you going to get there? What are you going to do to get there? What changes are you going to make? You're at the start. You have got the start point. You need to get to your destination. This is the route that you must follow. And it's just like driving somewhere for the very first time. You don't know how to get there, so you use Google Maps. But once you've been there once or twice, you kind of know where you're heading. And that's when you know you can stop or relax your tracking of food. This is an education process for you. This is about you understanding, if I eat this much in a day, I'm in maintenance. If I eat this much in a day, I'll be in a calorie deficit. If I eat this much in a day, I will be in a calorie surplus. But unfortunately, too many of you are going through completely blind, and you are just eating based on no real thought process. Oh, but I'm eating healthy, Justin. You might be, but you might be eating too much. We don't know. And when you don't know, you've got to find out. And that's why you need to start tracking and learning what you are eating and where it fits in your macro balanced, calorie controlled nutrition. Okay. It's a learning process. Now, when you do this, it can be a bit of an eye opener. Some of the things that I would expect people to come up and be like is, oh my God, that's a lot of chicken. All right. If you're eating, recently my wife and I worked with a nutritionist. My wife was eating 150 grams of cooked chicken, I think twice a day. I was on 200 grams twice a day. It's a lot of chicken. All right. That's a lot of chicken. But that's what we need to do. You're also going to be like, wow, that looks so small to be 500 calories. And like I've said before, this is about education. You could eat, actually, I'll get onto this point later, but I want to be very conscious of it. The more processed the food is, the more higher in calories it will be for what is perceived to be the volume. Okay. It doesn't make it bad. I want to be very clear on that. There are no bad foods. It does not make it bad. However, while your goal might be fat loss, we also need to get through our day and not feel like shit. Okay. And this is the point I was going to make before. You could eat a large Big Mac meal every single day and you will lose weight. A large Big Mac meal is 1,500 calories. Eat that every day and you'll lose weight. Most people will lose weight on 1,500 calories. Problem is, you're probably going to feel like shit at the same time. Did you know 1,500 calories is one large Big Mac meal? 1,500 calories is also 150 grams salt, 150 grams of cooked chicken with a salad, 125 grams steak with vegetables. It is a protein shake. It is a banana. It is 2 flat white coffees. That's also 1,500 calories. It's a lot more food, a lot more good food, going to make you feel a lot better, probably going to adhere to the program a lot longer. This is why this is so important, is you've got to educate yourself on what you're eating. And, this is where a lot of the fitness influencers that we see out there, all right, they talk about calorie deficit, calorie deficit, calorie deficit, and calorie deficit is very important. But for most of us, calorie deficit, we also have life to get through. We need to get through life. There are kids that rely on us. There is a job where we need to perform. So while, yes, we want to be in a calorie deficit, we still need to be able to perform our tasks. And that's why the quality of food is also so very important. Now, if you need some help with high protein recipes or vegan recipes or whatever it may be, all right, got a heap of awesome recipe books. You can message me and I'll send those to you. If you are a member of Beyond Limits, then you can access the members group and you will see those in there as well. But let's also be honest, there's heaps of meal options out on Facebook and Instagram, etc. You'll notice that I'm not providing you with a meal plan. Now, that's outside of my scope of practice because I'm not a nutritionist. But the other reason is because you need to also start to think for yourself. All right. I've seen way too many people, they get given a meal plan, they stick with it for 4 weeks, they get some great results. You take the meal plan away, and then they go, oh shit, what do I eat? You need to be able to think for yourself, create your own recipes, trial and error, all right, and work through. Now, so that you can function through your day, here are some other tips that you may wish to consider. They are not important in the big scheme. They're not overly important in the scheme of changing your body composition, whether it's fat loss or muscle gain. All right. But like I said, there is more to life than this. So we need to talk more around the specifics of nutrition timing because we need to function and do life right. All right. All of the shitfluencers, they just talk about calorie deficit and nothing else matters. And I think that that's crap. Calorie deficit is overarchingly very important, but like I said, we still need to perform at other times. So let's have a look. Your highest carbohydrate meals should be around your training. Okay. You need to fuel your training and you need to replace the glycogen lost from your cells, which is your energy after your training. Okay. Otherwise, you're going to feel like you're running on empty and it's only 11 o'clock in the morning. Let's say you trained at 5 a.m. in the morning. All right. And then you didn't eat any carbohydrates. All right. Until all of a sudden it's 11 o'clock and you're like, oh my God, I'm dying. I'm so hungry, but B, I've got no energy because I didn't replace the glycogen after my workout to give me a little bit of a drip feed of energy throughout the morning. All right. So it is super, super important to time, in my eyes, when you consume your high carbohydrate meal. Now, this is your starchy carbohydrate. So this could be rice, it could be pasta, it could be starchy vegetables like potato or sweet potato. All right. Ideally after your training, okay, for those things. Directly after your training, there is this thing called the anabolic window. Now, if if you're training, all right, you're breaking down your muscles. When you break down your muscles, your body is going, I need to repair. And that's when it is most willing to take in protein. All right. It's about 20 to 45 minutes after your workout where this window of opportunity exists and your body will take in the protein synthesis will happen at its best rate. Okay. And so for that reason, that's why you'll often see guy walks out of a gym. What's he got in his hand? A protein shaker. Okay. Because he's trying to get that protein in straight away during that window. All right. So if you train, you get home, have a protein shake. Okay. Maybe have half a banana as well. Bit of carbohydrates to help it be digested, bit of fiber at the same time. All right. Can be a very, very good option. And the rest of the day is kind of up to you, as long as you stay within your calories and macros, sorry. All right. I personally am like a 2, maybe 3 meal a day plus a couple of snacks. That's generally how I'll look at it. And I really don't like meal and snacks. All right. And I'm not a breakfast, lunch, dinner kind of guy. I'm meal 1, meal 2, meal 3, meal 4, meal 5. That's generally how I work. All right. Sprinkling your weekly nutrition plan with some higher cal or higher processed treats is not a bad thing. Like I said, I love a good pasta with some garlic bread. I'm an old gold chocolate fan. It's just not an everyday thing. Excuse me. So put it in there, all right? Just don't have it in there every day. Typical day for me at the moment is I'm up at 4, I'll coach. About 7:30, I'll have my first meal, which will generally be protein oats and coffee. All right, with my protein oats, I'll also have flaxseed in there. and a few other bits and pieces, obviously looking to get that fiber, which is so important. Mid-morning, I'll have my second coffee and maybe a piece of fruit. Lunch generally will be leftovers. The way we do our meal prepping is if we make a big amount the night before for dinner, a portion of that gets put aside for lunches the next day. So my lunch will be, maybe it will be some leftover Mexican, could be a chicken salad, something along those lines. Mid-afternoon, maybe a little bit more fruit or some dates for some fiber, maybe some fats like some hummus on a rice cake, something along those lines. Just trying to avoid that arvo crash. And then dinner will generally be meat and salad. Okay. And if the day allows, I'll finish off with protein yogurt and blueberries or something else. All right. Protein yogurt and blueberries most nights. For a treat night, it might be, like I said, maybe it's an ice cream that's been on sale at IGA. Maybe it's some chocolate. Who knows? But I make sure it fits. If it doesn't fit, it's not happening. All right. Pretty simple. And that's the way you've got to look at it. Right. If you want to make it fit, if you want it, make it fit. That's how it's got to go. All right. Now, one thing we haven't spoken about, which is super important, is beverages. All right. Fluid intake. All right. You should be prioritizing water, 2.5 to 3 liters every single day. Beverages are those hidden calories. All right. Depending on what kind of coffee you like, there could be up to 250 calories in your daily cup of coffee. All right. Especially if you like one of those big suckers. All right. It's a lot of milk. It's a lot of consumption. It's a lot of calories. But again, I'm not here to take it away from you because I want you to still enjoy your nutrition process. Just fit it in. And as you go through this process and as you track your food, you will understand how it all works. And once you've done it long enough, it becomes wash, rinse, repeat. And that's what we're trying to get towards. There is one beverage that I would recommend that you do cut out completely, and that is alcohol. All right. Cut it out of your diet. It's not doing, there is zero benefit to alcohol being in your diet. Okay. So cut it out. All right. Simple. And having worked with enough people over a long enough period of time, we know, and I know, that people will feel their best when they get it out of their daily routine. Maybe they'll have a glass of wine or something on a special occasion, but that's it. All right. It is not part of their everyday. It is not part of their weekend. And I can tell you now, if you're someone that enjoys getting on it a little bit on the weekends, and then you wake up Monday and you're like, oh, cut it out for one weekend and see how you feel on your Monday. And you may never go back after that. Now, the final thing I want to address is fasting. Okay. Every time I've worked with a nutritionist, they have recommended that I fast. Okay. Not for fat loss, not for overall reduction of calories, but to improve cellular regeneration, the way the body repairs itself. When the body doesn't have to think about giving all of its time and energy to digestion, like I said, with sleep, it can continually work on repairing itself. All right. Building up your immune system. All right. Et cetera, et cetera. All right. Fighting inflammation, et cetera, et cetera. All right. So that is why they have recommended fasting. Now, I've personally found great benefits from it. All right. I always made sure my first meal was high protein. I did it for 2 weeks consistently. And when I say fasting, I would stop eating at 8 and I wouldn't eat again until 12 midday. All right. I did it for 2 weeks. I got some amazing results. All right. But it's just something that I don't always sustain. I haven't been able to build it into my usual protocol, depending on where the ebbs and flows of life are. Could I do it again? Yes. Is it something that I would consider doing during an 8-week challenge? Absolutely it is. The question you've got to ask yourself, do you want to fast in the morning? Do you want to fast at night? It's going to be different for everyone. The fasting period I just found based on when I was training, I was really struggling to perform in the gym because I wasn't training until around midday. So it was at the end of my fasting window. All right. And I was really struggling from an energy perspective then. All right. So I think that can be a good indicator as to when you may wish to fast. All right. So if you're someone that trains in the morning, then you may wish to fast in the evening. All right. Potentially. After you've rested, you feel a little bit more energetic to go and do that workout. If you're someone that trains in the evening, you may wish to fast in the morning. Try and get at least 12 hours if you are going to fast. Up to 16 is always good. But again, it's completely up to you and why you want to use fasting in your protocols. The last thing, guys, is remember, there is no exact number to this. It may take 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks to start getting some results. If you're not getting any change after 4 weeks, all right, then you do want to start looking at the numbers, or potentially you want to look at what you're actually doing. All right. I always recommend that you take measurements beforehand if you're going to start going through a process, and before and after photos are always good, but these are for you only. All right. They're a great way to track things if, when you step on the scales, things are not changing, because remember, again, muscle weighs more than fat. So if you are building lean muscle while losing body fat, your overall weight may not change, but you might have dropped 2 dress sizes. That's just how it works. So guys, there's a little bit of an overview and a simplistic version of how I like to look at nutrition. If you want some more help on this, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can also speak to a nutritionist if you want to get that really in-depth and personal advice. But what I've provided you here is that overall arching principle of how you can create and maintain sustainable nutrition for life. Take care. Bye for now.